this, and we'll put the middle blocker and have her hit from the outside there, right? Just to not have this crazy crisscrossing. It's already bad enough that the setter's coming right out the lane, right? That makes it difficult. So we don't want to have people crossing behind that as well. Okay, so that's taken care of. Let's go to the next one. Oh, this is an easy one, right? We just drop the libero down and then bring our opposite back. All right, we're ready to go. Next one. Okay, this is this is an easy one again. We flip flop here. Okay, well, we've got to keep her back because that's the right front player. So let's make sure we don't get past her. All right, and then finally, another one here. This is easy as well. Right? We flip flop here. Probably don't want to do this attack that way. Maybe she can do a pipe, and maybe we'll have our outside do a D up here. Okay. And then finally, the last rotation. This looks pretty easy too, but let's get rid of the arrow. All right, let's drop out the barrel, move these guys over. Okay, now we're ready to go. All right. Okay. So again, here, as you kind of look through this thing and kind of scan through and see see all the formations, you might decide, maybe we need some different attack patterns and such. And up here, you can create like a primary and an alternate, receive, right, with different attack patterns. So, it's up to you and how creative you want to be. Okay, so does this make sense so far? Do you think it's helpful? All right. So again, we don't I'm a high school guy, part-time, right, and spending hours doing this stuff. It's like, who's got the time? You're not getting, you're already making negative dollars, less than working at McDonald's, right? So let's not make this worse. And for us, it was like super painful because, my assistant coach is a phenomenal software programmer, and it was like, we're idiots who keep doing this. It's like, I can write the program in the time we're wasting, okay? Which is what he did, because he's really fast. All right, so the program is here for you. AVCA member, this is free for the first year, right? So just get up on the site and help yourself, right? Rotate 1, 2, 3, okay, .com. All right, so now let's go back. Let's do one other thing. One of the other rules they talk about, right, is where do the balls go? Where do most of the serves go? Middle of the court, right? So somewhere between, depending on the day, it's somewhere 60 to 70% of the balls end up kind of right in the middle, okay? Now, our opposite is substantially better than the two outsides, right? Her error rate's about half, which means she's at 10, they're at 20. What does that mean, right? 1 in 10 balls get shanked versus 1 in 5 balls. How many balls are you going to receive in a typical match? 20, right? If it's close, it's about 20, okay? So how many points is that? Okay, you just lost the game if one of your opposites, like outsides, takes the ball. If you have the option of having the opposite take the ball, right? So that little optimization might cost you the match 24-21, 25-21, right? So little considerations like this matter, and in fact, all we're talking about is moving people around. So let's look at our setup here. And so we see in the first one, let me zoom back in so you can see. Okay, so what do we got? Okay, this is kind of weird. So we're going to do something a little weird and decide whether or not it's worth it. All right, so we're going to move that person out of the way. Say, uh-oh, what's that? Okay, the middle's got to go that way and probably flip back around, but we can get her here. And then we got the outside hitter here. Now, is that a great path of the ball? Maybe not, right? So you got to decide what's the first priority, passing the ball or the attack. Maybe the H1's okay hitting from the right side and you can actually develop enough offense. Maybe, you'll run something more to the inside here, okay? And then we'll have the, maybe we'll have the H2, prep out here with an A, right, as a backup, okay? Up to you. But you got to prioritize, right? Same thing, right? What's the higher priority, the passing or the attack formation, okay? Next one, she's already in the middle, that's good. Next one, she's kind of over on the side. Okay, what are we going to do? Where should we move her? Well, we can definitely take her here and can move her back to, in the way. So we got to move the barrel off to the side. And then we got to decide again, is this a very good path for the attack? I don't know. Haven't tested it yet. Okay? All right, on the other side, what do we have? Okay, now it's a little tricky, right? These are all the back row people, and she's the right back player. So none of the back row can go to her right, because she's got to go this way. So let's say we start bumping everybody over. Let's say, we bring her back on this side, right? Okay, let's take out our arrow here. And we'll bring our H2 to the right side, have her hit on this side. Okay? And then you have to decide once again, is this a great offensive system or not? Maybe we've got a pipe going in there, and maybe we have to run an A out here. Okay? So what are we optimizing for? Well, clearly we're optimizing for the pass, not necessarily the attack. Right? But if we control the pass, maybe we can do something good with it, like just jam the middle. Right? Like SC was doing, right? Every single serve receive looked like it was going straight to the middle. It was amazing. I mean, how many balls they were able to put there, right? You know, my team is like 1 in 4, you know, perfect, so we're not going to be doing that anytime soon. Okay? Okay, so we've done our next layer of optimization. Is this a good thing? Is this not a good thing? Test it, right? Run some scrimmages, take some stats, see if it works. Okay? All right, so let's show that. And, you know, if you want to stop me at any time, please do, because you're rambling on here. Okay, so we finished this example. We're to rotate, so that's the sample that's in there. Okay. All right. So now, here's one thing about communication. Print out these lovely little sheets, hand them to the girls, it's completely customized, and when we're done with practice, there's paper all over the floor, and the girls are gone. Okay? And you sit there and say, wow, I killed a lot of trees. That was fun. All right? So the communication channel, though, of choice is Facebook, and you can create what's called a secret page. A secret page is not listed, and it's completely under your control as far as who gets on it. So you cannot search it from the outside, right? So I have one of these for my team, and so that's a sample that's clicked there. And what I do is I take a screenshot of the game plan. The screenshot creates a file that's basically a photo. And there's a photo upload capability, right, in Facebook. So you just browse for that file and just post it up there. When you click on that, it zooms up, the girls can see it, right? And you put little notes on there about what you need to study. And so what I do is I post it up and I say, tomorrow night we're going to use this formation, please study it. We don't waste a whole lot of time on the court. Okay, we don't spend 20 minutes doing walkthroughs, right? We just get on to just receiving. Okay, jumping in there. If they have questions, the cool thing is they can post their questions here so all the other girls can see, and we can have that conversation very, very quickly, right? And all the notification systems work because, you know, it goes right to here, right? So you get a little message saying, oh, the coach has posted something, better check it out, okay? Very, very efficient, right? It's not like the sending an email and getting a big fat dead end. You know, when I send emails, I always send them to the parents and the player and hope the parent will give it to the player. And I know the player's not picking up the email. So, very efficient communication mechanism. And another note is that, you know, I've done rotate for a little while now, and some coaches say, why do I need this? I can do this all in my head. Yes, it's in your head. You know, the players need to know this too, right? And so, it's really helpful to communicate with them and let them be responsible, right? Part of the deal with growing your players and creating maturity is they take on more responsibility for the game. Right? So it's less your deal. The more they own it, the better. This is just one aspect of it. And this is just like learning math or anything else, right? You do a little arithmetic, then you can now do a little math. I've done this a lot now. I've done this for 3 volleyball seasons, 2 high school, 1 club. And the more you do, the better they get, because I make a lot of formation changes. So they expect it of me. And so they know when I say rotation 2, option 2, they know where to go. Okay? And they get very good at this. You'd be surprised. Girls, you know, because of all of the stuff that they're doing on the computer or the phone and everything else, very graphically oriented. Much more so than we are. At least me. I'm an old guy. Okay? I'm 57, so it's like, you know, punch cards is what I learned computing on, right? I don't think you even know what a punch card is. So, so this whole graphical stuff is like, you know, new news for me, not for them. Okay, so here's I just made this one up just because it probably happens in life. And it's basically, you got your best middle blocker is also your best passer, right? I mean, how ugly is that going to be from a formation standpoint? Okay? You know, but the reality is, it's not that hard. I think the part that's great about this is, if you have an automation tool, you know, you can actually get there from here relatively quickly. So let me see if I got one set up here. Because you can go through the permutation very, very quickly and decide, oh, that's a dead end. You know, you can move on. What used to happen to me is that, you know, you get to the, you know, rotation 5, it looks great. And rotation 6, after an hour, it breaks, right? And it's like, start over. Well, you can only start over so many times before it's time to go to bed, right? So I'm just going to create a phony player here. We'll call him 1. We'll call this M1, and it will be M1. And did I even look at it? Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to first start her out in the M1 position, right? And I'll have a DS going for M2. Now, this is just all hypothetical, so I don't even need names here, right? What did they sub for? Sorry. Oh, I don't need the libero. I'm not using one. Okay. Okay, so let's dive into the receive and see what we get, right? So, okay, wait, let me reapply this here a second. All right, so we have the M1 in the MB1 slot. Let me do this by initials so we know we got the right person there. Sorry. Okay, so M1 in the MB1 slot. Okay, so that rotation's good. This rotation's good. That rotation, she's way up here, right? So we got to move that around. So let's assume that the two outsides can pass, but the DS is maybe not as high a quality passer. Okay, now we got a problem, right? Now we got to move the setter back, right? Now we're into a pretty ugly release, right? You really don't want this setter running around the left side, okay? So automatically say, that's not going to work. Okay, let's go back. All right, go back to positions, and let's move her over here. Let's see what happens if we move her over there, okay? So we'll go back to formations, and then we'll reapply the template, start from scratch, okay? Okay, now our M1 is actually in the M2 slot. Okay, let's see if we can make this one work. All right, so, oh, actually, I need to make one other change, sorry. I need to have the DS sub for the M1 slot. Right, here we go. Okay, so now we're going to move her out, move her back down, okay? Yeah, that works, right? Let's look at the next one. Okay, she's over here. We're going to move this person out. Shift, actually, look at this one. This might be really interesting. We could move her back here, but we could actually move her over here, right? And have her attack straight away. Okay, stand in the middle, go straight up the middle, right? That's not bad. All right, where are we here? 3 across and she's here, that's okay. And then we're here, she's passing, that's good. And she's passing, that's good. And then what's the last one? She's over here, so we got to move her out. We'll shift everybody over a little bit. And then we have to decide what attack path are we going to take. Is that a good one or not? Okay? But you can see that even in this really potentially awkward scenario, you can come up with answers very, very quickly. Right? The system will tell you what you need to move out of the way. And what's happened for me is that because I know the checker is there, I work very differently now. Instead of worrying about the overlaps, I say, this person I want to move over there, tell me what I need to do to get legal. And what it does is just move it, you see the red line, you say, oh, these 3 guys got to go with you. Okay, so you kind of work backwards now. Do what you want to do, let the system tell you how to get there. Right, again, it takes a little load off of your brain, you get to your answers a little bit quicker. Make sense? Okay, so this is kind of the process that you want to get into, and again, it's really, really, the bulk of this stuff is like, you know, what's my level of creativity in working on this stuff? Okay, so I'll run another example. This is high school, and the general situation, let's look at the information here, because you don't need all the details. So the general information is, I have 2 tall setters. They're actually pretty good blockers. They're 5'9" and 5'10", get up over the net pretty good, right? Nice hands. Problem, they got slow feet, okay? Not great feet. And the other issue is that about 1 in 4 serve-receive passes are perfect, okay? So we're not going to be jamming the middle a whole lot. This isn't going to look like USC, right? Now, the good news is that in high school, the libero can serve, and you got 18 whopping substitutions. I mean, you could play this like a football team, you know, offense, defense, right? Get off, you know. So that's just a matter of your management skills, right? So what are the options? Well, the classic 5'1", 6'2", I tried, didn't work. Why? Because the setter's releasing from the back. Setter releases, the ball's up at there, setter and ball never meet. Set does not go up. Okay? Basic problem. Don't get there, nothing happens. So I have to resort to the final one, which is International 4-2, right? Like, that's okay. So again, the process is pretty straightforward. Maybe I haven't already built here, so I have to do this. Let's see. High school, okay. So in this case, I'm going to start out with it, look at it, and then maybe do a little bit of extra optimization. So I believe it's set up. Yeah, it's here. All right. Now, we'll look at the formations once again, but I won't have to manage too much of it. All right, it's already applying the template, okay? So the setter's already in the front, and we're running a whole bunch of formations. Now, the only major change we're going to make is the following. Because we're not able to put up a perfect pass a lot, one of the two middles is a good outside hitter. She's 6'1", has a 24-inch jump, hits over the block, okay? So what we're going to do is instead of having her try to hit a 1, that's only going to happen 1 in 4 times, why waste that talent, right? So we're going to move her and have her hit her out here for the first ball. Only the first ball. After transitioning, we'll run out of the middle because it turns out that we do a lot better off the dig than we do off the serve, right? And again, looking at her stats, that's what's happening to us. Okay, so we flip-flop that formation a little bit. And then this one, we say, okay, H1's not a bad hitter, so we'll leave her out there, but we'll put her out here for a 5. All right, rather than try to get to 1. And then I believe that's, oh, and then finally this one here, we're going to flip-flop this one, have her out here. Okay. And then we'll have the H2 take the middle set. Okay. All right, so now that all looks fine except for one other problem, right? The H1's okay passive, but not that great. And then the other problem is the setters have what kind of feet? Yeah, so what do you think they do on defense? Tip coverage. How does that look? Right? Right, pancake your way to freedom here, okay. So what I'm going to do is go back here, I'm going to add a bunch of defenders, right? So I'm going to add 3 of them. Okay, and you can add a whole pile of them here until you run out of substitutes. And then we're going to take our better DS here and have her pass for the H1, and we have our good DS and have her go for the tall setter, and then we have the okay DS and go for the short setter or shorter setter. Did I get that? Okay. All right. So now we go back to the formations, right? Now we have a DS sitting in here. And we can do all kinds of nice things. So now, for example, you know, maybe we can have her help a little bit, stand inside here, move this guy up a little bit, right? Because she's not, the H1's not that great a passer, so we'll let the DS do the jump here, okay? And move on from here. So we can bring her in the lane and maybe we need a little extra help, you know, passing, maybe some short ballers on there, right? So again, going through, customizing, right? Adjusting things, making sure that the player's initials are there so they know exactly where to stand. And in this situation, we're using a pile of substitutes, right? Because we got 3 subs coming in plus the libero, okay? So people are just tandem going in and out the whole time. Now the good news is if you have a side over here, right, where it says on serve, on receive, that's the list of subs that have to happen at each half of the rotation, okay? What I do with this is I actually clip this, put it on a page, and I hand it to one of the bench players and have her keep track of what rotation we're in and call out the sub so I can watch the game. Because I don't want to worry about, you know, who needs to go in next. Okay? And so they just kind of exchange duties doing that. And because all they got to do is track what rotation we're in, and also watch and make sure people lined up properly. It really, again, they're taking responsibility for this. They're learning more about it because they're seeing these formations all the time, and they're helping out with the substitution. You'd be surprised. I mean, we did a whole bunch of different subbing things this year. They got very, very good. It's just like, you know, big pile of girls go in, one girl goes in, you know, back and forth like this, and it just all works, and they just get used to it. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We're time to wait 5 o'clock. Okay, so that. Okay, so you know all these examples are not necessarily solutions, right? They're just examples, and the key thing right now we're trying to do is learning a process. Okay, I'd like to think of it as fishing versus fish. You know that whole thing about, yeah, right? So you know, if you give a man a fish, right, they're back after that, eating that fish back to you to get another fish, right? But if you teach them how to fish, right, fishing, then they can just do it themselves. So the whole thing here is kind of learning that process. But the other half of it is once you come up with that wonderful formation, you got to be able to communicate that. I think different communication mechanisms are important. And you can never forget, right, as a teacher, the whole notion of multisensory input. Okay, that means pictures are good, words are good, right? physical positioning is good. The more the different, multi-sensory mechanisms you use, the faster people will learn. Videotape is good, right? So all of these things kind of add up. One of the things I do on my Facebook page is that I now have a wide-angle lens on my camera, and I just have it running during practice. And then at the end of practice, I upload it to YouTube, and then I put the links onto my Facebook page with some instructions about what to look for. And the cool thing is, YouTube tells you view count, right? So you can tell which drills are they looking at, which ones are they ignoring. It's usually hitting. They love to see themselves hit. So that's all where the action is. But the nice thing is, again, we're turning the coaching responsibility back to them. They can see themselves in the context and start to do self-adjustment through self-awareness. Okay? So Facebook kind of becomes a great channel to communicate, and we've got all the tools. The one secret you'll learn with YouTube is, the more videos you put up there, the more you can put up there. So I somehow reached some kind of crazy threshold after maybe 50 videos, and it said, congratulations, you're a premier user now. You can actually load a video that's over 15 minutes. You know what that means? You never turn your camera off during a match. Because basically, a typical set runs 22 minutes, 2 gigabytes. It all fits in one shot, right? With none of the breaking and stopping and all that kind of stuff. Let it run, switch sides, turn it on, let it run again. Okay? Now, all that stuff is stored up there so that you can review it, they can review it. And sometimes parents don't make it to the game. They can review it too. So it's kind of fun for everybody. And the quality now is phenomenal. So, if you get a good camera, you can actually see people sweating. Not that you want to. Okay? So, lots